look, we've always had this problem that every time US governments were against us, like Richard Nixon or co, the US press was with us. And now that the US government is with us, the US press is not with us. Okay, so this has always been an issue.
Yeah.
I'm waiting at some point of time and see the US government being with you or not with you is a reflection of your economic strength and your economic interdependency and realpolitik. The US press being with you or not being with you is a function of your diplomatic skill, which implies that we had significant diplomatic skills even when we did not have a serious interdependence with the United States.
Yeah.
And now that we have a serious interdependence with the United States, we don't have the diplomatic skills at all. Now, I'm not going to get into the people running all of this because mere muh se bas maa baap ki gali niklega. But the sort of incompetence, the compound incompetence you're seeing, in its inability, but there's been a across the board inability to deal with any of these issues. See, at least with the Congress, because the Congress is actually very good at sort of messaging management and all of that. Till that boy turned it into an NGO, essentially a glorified NGO. After which, we were essentially funding the Pakistani narrative or supporting the Pakistani narrative.
Yeah.
For the BJP, to then not have messaging control is highly problematic, but they've never had messaging control with anything they've done so far, if you look at it, right? Be it in terms of, say, cow smuggling, be it in terms, cow lynching, cow smuggling. You call it cow lynching, I call it cow smuggling. Yeah. With Rafale, with the CAA, with the Delhi riots. With the Delhi riots, it's fine cancelling visas, and Jaishankar puts on this wonderful act of petulance. Tell me one press conference he held or briefing he held for diplomats to put the official version of events on record. So, you can put out these furious little pathetic tweets saying I've denied visas to X, Y, and Z. But, this is a standard procedure that these bureaucrats carry out, which is you create a crisis, which should not be a crisis, either through incompetence or through deliberation. And then, you posit yourself as this Joan of Arc or this, Manikarnika by single-handedly fighting this horse, because then everybody thinks you're a hero. And they fell for it because the moment he cancelled
the biggest problem is, Abhijit, it makes the Indian administration look petulant. That's the worst part.
Well, they're incompetent, so they better be petulant. Petulance is usually a function of incompetence. So what happens out here is, in their personal quest, either to cover up their own personal incompetence or to sort of, create this whole halo, because, it's the PR that sells. Nobody rewards. Diplomacy technically is boring day-to-day work, which if it becomes a crisis, you've essentially failed. The problem that we have to deal with so many crises shows you how incompetent our diplomacy actually is.
Right.
Okay. So there is this fundamental problem out here that we really need to get our messaging right, that we're not. Yeah. Ultimately, it is going to become a problem. Because, see, the thing about Nixon is you're just waiting, and a woke president is going to happen. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, if not this year, then in 4 more years.
This time it's not going to happen. This time Trump is going to win. I'll give you a written guarantee. But, I'm giving you a verbal guarantee. Record this.
It's on the record, literally, yeah.
If I get it wrong, just delete this video, okay? But anyway, if there will be a woke president, and the last thing you would then want is for US policy to be guided by a personal dislike of India, which was the case with Richard Nixon. Remember that. It was he came to India, he felt slighted by the fact that he wasn't honored as much as he was in Pakistan, because Pakistan went all out, rolled out the red carpet for him and whatever. She took a personal dislike for Nehru, even though Nehru did nothing, pompous or anything like that. Whatever. And then you see the disastrous consequences on policy later on. God forbid that Banshee Ilhan Omar becomes president of the US one day, because the way the US is going, you might have.
Okay, I'm going to stick my neck out. She will never be the president of the United States of America. You can record this.
Okay.
Well,
I have two on the record.
The dinosaurs go extinct, so things can happen. She could be the meteorite that killed off the dinosaurs. She'll be the sort of,
Or it could be one of her very close friends who she's in the year of.
One of those nut jobs like AOC or whatever,
Exactly.
who get to be president, who then, even with people like Nancy Pelosi or Biden, it doesn't matter what they say outside. Once they're in power, they will listen to calm, measured policy. But what happens when you have a demagogue take over, a woke demagogue take over as president?
Yeah.
That is fundamentally going to be a huge problem for us. Or what if you have a woke demagogue who is made the policy point person?
Yeah.
For example, that other shrew, what was her name? Robin Rafel.
Who's that one?
Robin Rafel was the Undersecretary of State in charge of whatever,
right.
In charge of South Asia. She then worked as a paid lobbyist for Pakistan, which then tells you everything. She had all her security clearances and everything revoked. You know that she was escorted out and put in jail for a while, and held under house arrest. I forget what exactly now. But this was the woman, house arrest. Yeah, but this was the woman who was running point on India policy for what was it? The Clinton administration, was it?
Yeah.
For the Clinton administration. So you can get absolutely scary people like this who will screw things over for you. Which is, imagine Pramila Jayapal running India policy someday under a democratic administration.
Yeah.
Right? That becomes problematic.
It's a nightmare, yeah.
It is. And this is where, I blame you, you Indian American types. Because even now, the Vietnamese Americans are the most pro-Republican, most pro-free enterprise, anti-socialism.
Yeah.
Indian Americans still are the most pro-socialist, pro-democrat, voting against their own national interest because they have absolutely no linkage back home.
Yeah.
Right? They think somehow just wearing saris, watching Dilwale Dulhaniya Le Jayenge, and wearing
matrimony on Netflix. Yeah.
Hideous saris, which, I don't think I've told you this before, but every time my mom goes into Radha Silks or Kumar Silks or whatever, she'll threaten the doorman, he'll take you to the NRI section and I'll break your legs. Because there, NRI is equivalent to bad taste.
Wow.
Okay, so there is this whole this thing where these kind of people, the Indian Americans don't become a forceful vote bank.
Yeah.
If they do, then they're basically opposing their own country abroad. In a way, you don't see any other community oppose their original country. So,
even Chinese don't do it, man. Even the Chinese don't do it that explicitly. Yeah.
Even the Chinese don't do it. And that is what is so amazing about all of this, because I think, this whole thing, it comes from that fundamental inferiority complex that they need to fit in with white people. We need to be whiter than white in order to sort of, let's face it, they're basically
woker than woke, at least. Yeah.
Woker than woke. Basically, they're the Indian equivalent of trailer park inbred trailer park trash that ended up in America, trying to climb the social ladder. Honestly, look at Pramila Jayapal. Don't you think she looks a bit inbred? You can kind of see those tendencies out there. So this is kind of not.
Is it the third on the record prediction?
Yeah, it's my on the record prediction.
Okay.
Oh Lord.
So I'll come to Abhijit first and then to Aarti. In terms of improving the messaging, what is something that you think are easy wins, or maybe short-term easy wins and sort of more medium to long-term wins that the government can do to fix that messaging? What is something that they can do? I think the big one is for the diaspora to get its act together. If the diaspora can get its act together, then I think the Indian diplomatic machinery has an immediate toehold in the discourse in America.